What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the chronically charismatic Dr. Disaster, and do you remember how we've discussed that Ubisoft's marketing campaign for Star Wars Outlaws is the largest budget that they've ever had for a game? Well, it sounds like that money is being spent on buttering up critics to get them to say that the game is good.
Quid pro quo, Mr. Powers. Yes, squid pro row.
It's as I've been saying for the past several days, rather than invest money into the game itself, making it into something that fans actually want to play, Ubisoft has decided the best investment is to try to brainwash the normies with influencers. All the while, their stock price is in freefall, ever since the earnings call last month, where the CEO of the company failed to address criticisms of this very shitty looking game. The stock has been getting sold off. If only they had done something much simpler to win people over, like make a game with decent graphics, or use a normal looking person as the main character instead of using the love child of Jabba the Hutt and Rosie O'Donnell.
Have you tried not being a mutant?
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. For those of you who have been here for a while, I'll bet you can guess what time it is, can't you? It's time to ask the following question.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
There are now 45,000 space pirates running around, looting and pillaging in our ever-growing space pirate fleet. We just hit 45,000 subscribers on the channel, and with every 1,000 subscribers, I add another ship to the fleet in order to house the newcomers. This time, several people suggested the Leviathan from No Man's Sky because it is a badass-looking ship. But in any event, thanks to everyone for being here, and I'll keep doing my best to earn your viewership.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Alright, anyways, Ubisoft has taken a page right out of Disney's playbook on this game's marketing strategy, and to be honest, I suspect this was likely Disney's idea all along. You can't tell me that Disney isn't over there whispering in Ubisoft's ear, telling them to just pay the Star Wars Outlaws reviewers off. I mean, that seems to be Disney's primary method of marketing things these days. But here's the story. This article is from Bounding Into Comics. Basically, we have a German YouTuber, Cyberpunk20XX, who has learned of other YouTubers being given all kinds of gifts in what is clearly meant to be an exchange, a quid pro quo, for positive reviews. The article says, not only had Ubisoft hosted a number of influencers for this Star Wars Outlaws promotional event, but that those who were invited were treated to such amenities as a whale watching tour, a VIP tour at Disneyland, and having their flights and hotels completely paid for. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that when a company puts a lot of money into something, it will of course only do so if it benefits from it, argued the YouTuber. This is not done out of charity, as we all know that business is not that good. Nevertheless, one cannot speak here of buying opinions, but rather of an attempt to influence. This is bad enough, of course, but the guy goes on to say that Ubisoft has bought advertising from many content creators, not the usual placements at the beginning or in the middle of the video, but entire videos, he asserted. In return, of course, paid for according to the reach and clicks achieved. There are a lot of figures that are buzzing around, but we're talking about quite decent amounts. We're not necessarily talking about peanuts here. So once again, this is the Disney strategy for all their marketing these days. If you ever wondered why so-called critics like Grace Randolph always think that every project that Disney puts out is some kind of masterpiece, well, I expect that it has something to do with this. If it pays the bills, some people will say whatever the hell you want them to. And yet, they have the audacity to call us grifters. Mark Kern, aka Grums on Twitter, one of the more prominent voices fighting against this woke shit in video games, has been called that an awful lot lately. They like to call him a grifter now. The irony, of course, is that the money isn't in calling these corporations out. The money is clearly in playing ball and letting these companies pay you off. All it costs is a chunk of your soul. But speaking of Grums, this was his tweet on this very subject of buying off influencers. He wrote, "This is very standard. I call this a soft buy where AAA studios host playtests in exotic locations. Once, Blizzard's former parent, Vivendi, flew everyone out to a castle in Europe. You invite a bunch of press and influencers and wine and dine and entertain them. It's quite common. No money changes hands, just some free gifts of merch. The hope is that people feel enamored of your lavish event and are hesitant to say negative things and focus on the positive. In sales, this is a common technique. You do something nice for the potential customer to induce them into a buy and harder for them to say no." I just wonder personally what might have happened if these corporate schmucks decided to, I don't know, pay people to put more time and effort into making their game better. Call me crazy, but that seems like it could have been a solid strategy. Now, instead, we're watching in real time as Ubisoft's stock continues to fall even lower. As I said before, ever since the earnings call last month, when investors were asking about the terrible gameplay videos of Star Wars Outlaws that were released, the stock has been falling. We are currently at $3.70, down from $4.87. That is a drop of about 25%. That means if you invested 10 grand into Ubisoft when that earnings call happened, you'd only have about $7,500 left. I grant you that a lot of stocks are tumbling right now, as the world at large suffers through big problems, but Ubisoft has been falling for the better part of a month, ever since the CEO told investors that the answer to that awful gameplay video that people were making fun of was to simply release more gameplay video. At this point, I don't feel bad for anyone still invested in this shit company. The writing is on the wall. The message takes precedence over investor money. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of Star Wars Outlaws into the comment section below, and we will have a laugh there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of